Welcome to our Essential Skills webinar. Today, we are going to be focusing on how to use Gmail effectively. So Gmail is, of course, our university email system, and there's a lot of versatility in it that I don't know if everybody is kind of using to their best advantage. So once you log into your Gmail, this is what it initially looks like. Now, there are some functions and settings that you can kind of mess with and to make it more customized to you. So to start off with, up in the settings here, this is where you look to see if there are specific ways that you'd like to kind of showcase your inbox. So for example, I have it set at default right now, but if I push it up to comfortable or compact, it kind of changes the kind of spacing on my numbers. Personally, I like the default. It gives me a little bit more room. You can do additional themes. So for example, if I wanted to change it to a lovely fall theme here, just for the season, I could do that. You could also, like, there's a lot of other things that you could do in addition to just kind of more basic and kind of minimalist themes. Down below, there's also an inbox type, so you can kind of customize to see like which items are coming to the top. I just have it as the default so I can see like when things came in. But if you wanted to put, your unread or all rising to the top, or if anything that you've marked important needs to come to the top, you can do that as well. You can also put in different, depending on like your size of screen, you might want to mess with your reading pane. So for example, I don't have it split, but if you wanted to add on another one to the right of the inbox, you can do that as well. So there's a lot of different settings that you can do just in the quick settings, but once you go into see all settings, there's a lot of additional things that you can throw in here. So for example, if you wanted to add additional conversations to it, you can add more than 50. If you wanted to add in additionally how you kind of reply to emails or how you are organizing things in like your send archive, there's that. You can even mess with your default type style. So the default is sans serif, but if you would rather use like Tahoma or maybe Comic Sans, I wouldn't suggest that, but you could do that as well. There's even down below at the bottom where you can add in your picture, which is kind of brings you from your Google services. You can also add a signature page. You can add more than one signature as well. So for example, my full signature looks like this. It has my full title as well as all my contact information. But I do have another one that is just Liz, so I don't have to even type that myself. Or if I wanted to do a short one instead of the full one, I can do that. And you can create multiple ones. So for say you are in charge of multiple groups on campus, or you needed additional contact information, you could do that. And you can even kind of see what your default is. If you're going to be away from your email for a while, so on a break, or maybe you're going on vacation, you can also put on your vacation responders. So for example, mine's on, but it's the current days are back in May, so I can actually just turn it off right now and no one will actually see this. That's on the general side, but there's a lot of other ones you can do, including messing with your labels, and we'll get into how to create additional ones as well. How to actually kind of show your inbox, what the reading pane looks like. You can actually do some filters and some block addresses, or even, so for example, if I have anything that's coming in from this search box, it automatically goes into my label professional development Circ Plus listserv, right? So there's a couple of things that you can see here. Additionally, there's like if you want to set yourself offline, or if there's some advanced settings that you can look at here, but the labels and the filters and block addresses are all really useful at a certain point. Okay. And always remember to save at the very bottom. Okay, back in your inbox, over on the left side of the page, you actually see some of your different options appear. So the inbox is at the top, Starred is going to bring back any message that has a star on it. So if I want to click there, these are things that maybe you want to look at. But also the difference between starred and important doesn't really make a lot of sense to me why it's there. But you can like switch in between those two as well. You can also see your sent folder. So if any message that you send out is going to be in there. So if you have deleted something from your inbox and you need to check it, it should be there as well. Any drafts that you have are listed here, so you can go in and actually put them in. There also is often a scheduled session. So if you're working late at night and you don't actually want to send that message until later on, you can actually schedule it, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And of course, spam, trash, and then down below, that's where scheduled comes in. It doesn't really pop up until there are messages in that category. Then down below, these are where the labels are, right? So these are all different labels that you can create yourself to help you kind of organize the messages that you need to keep accounts for. You can also have nested labels. So for under reference, we have, messages that are related to access issues, frequent assignments. If there's a particular person that I'm working with a lot, I might put their name in there, other things like that. All right. So let me go back up here and just get into my regular inbox. So say I was going to use this active view autumn here. Up ahead, this is where you can, up at the top, this is where you can actually move to these different labels here. You can also create a new one or manage your labels from this section. If you don't want to move it out of your inbox, but you do want to put a label on it, you could do that as well. So for example, I know I've got one that is about ActiveView and CrimFit, so I can label it as that. This is also one of those areas where you could set up a filter to say that everything that comes in that's from or mentions ActiveView automatically gets this label here. If you want to remove it from your inbox, you can click that and it's no longer in your inbox, but it still remains with this label attached to it. And then up at the top here, you can like even add it to tasks. So for example, if I want to register for ActiveView, I can add it to my tasks here. And this is kind of a little pane on the side. To help you know when this happens. And then once you've completed it, you can check it off and it removes itself from that guide or from that side panel, which is really nice. So again, if you kind of have a task list that you want to get to, especially with regard to your email, this is one way to get ahead of that. Additionally, on the far left or on the far right side, excuse me, you have some keep. So these are little notes or things that you might want to kind of keep in your inbox and so that you can see them multiple times. I have some important email addresses that I use a lot, but I don't necessarily remember how to what their spelling is. There's important links. There's also some, codes and stuff that I have. You also have your calendar integration over here. So if you do want to see your calendar at a quick glance, you can do that as well. Then the last thing I'm going to touch on the far right side, this is where you can see your chat. So if you want to do instant messaging with a friend or a faculty member, as long as they're on site, you can do that. So for example, if I wanted to message Emily, who's actually in the chat, you can send it to her, and this is an email or instant message that comes back. And again, you can send links and pictures and, respond to things just like anything else. Spaces, these are ones that you kind of create as a group chat. So we have a few in the library that are between librarians, or they're about a specific option, like if we're getting new or trial resources, for example, or if we're having any issues with our databases, we'll use that known issues there. You can even use go to your Google Meet directly from your Gmail as well. So there's a lot of different operations that you can do in this space. Okay. All right, so there's one other thing I wanted to show you how to do. Oh yes, searching. Thank you. Emily reminded me to do this earlier. So if you don't have your label set up, or you're still kind of really trying to remember something, something about an email that like a professor sent to you, you can actually search your inbox for things. So for example, if I'm working with the professor, and I remember that it's Psych 319, but I don't remember which professor I was talking to about this. I can search within it, and there's actually all of these different options you can do. So you can look in your conversations, which are going to be the chat. If you want to look in your spaces, these are going to be those group chats. So you can look across all three different communication methods in this search. You can also limit by a actual person. So if I wanted to actually see how many times Dr. Miller has emailed me about 319, I can do that. Ooh, he comes in here. Hold on. Let me change it to Lacoste. Here he is, right there. Anyway. So if I wanted to see how many times Dr. Lacoste has emailed me about Psych 319, I can do that as well. If you wanted to see if it's in a particular time, you can, say older than a month, older than a year. You can even put in a custom range. So if I wanted to make sure that it was like last semester at some point, I can limit to last semester, give you some relative dates. And I can see that she did email me in January and February of last year about this particular option. You can even, has an attachment or exclude calendar updates. So if there's a lot of meetings that are getting scheduled, you can exclude those as well. Or you can also even like see who you are sending things to. So let me take these off here. Come on. See if I sent anything to Nathan. Yep, and there it is. So I sent something to him about 319, and that's what's popping up there. So the search function is really powerful and it's really useful, especially if you are kind of forgetting or don't maybe necessarily have the full structure of those labels built in quite yet. Okay. All right, so that's only about 15 minutes of time. If you have any questions, this is a great time to ask them. If you are wanting me to go into any more detail about how to format anything, or if you're curious about a functionality, let me know. Emily, is there anything that you think I should go into a little bit more detail on? Oh, you want to see how do you make the email signature? Sure. All right. So back up in settings, you're going to go to see all settings and then scroll down to this signature and you're going to create new. So the create new, you're going to need to name it. So we'll go Liz test signature. And then it gives you basically a rich text box. So you can do anything. So say Liz, Rhoda. And you can even put in a link to this. It's rich text. So again, it would help if I could actually spell appointment. That'd be great. So if I wanted to add in a link here, grab one. I can go in and do this. And it adds in there. I could also, increase the size of my name if I wanted to. So that's large, then everything else. It stays it like you can mess with your text and everything else there. You can even add images, which is how I did some of that for my like full instruction signature. Then if you wanted to use, this is one of those things that if you wanted to like kind of mess around with, like if you want to use for new emails, like this is what I put in for like the instruction, and you can default to a shorter signature for replies, for example. Then we're going to go save changes. And then when I want to compose an email, so say I'm going to make a new one for Emily here, it automatically defaults to the signature that I've chosen. But if I wanted to change the signature, all I have to do is go down to, it's the little pen option. Apologies. Yeah. So the little pen icon down here is actually how you choose your signature. So for example, if I wanted to change to that test signature, I just put in there, I can do that. This is also how you can kind of schedule sends. So if I wanted to send this email to Emily this afternoon or maybe Monday morning, I could also just pick a date and time. So if I wanted to send it to her on Tuesday at around 1, I can schedule that send. And then it shows up here. So again, if you're like working late at night, you don't necessarily want to email that person until the next morning, or maybe you're kind of setting things up, you can do that as well.
Thank you for watching this recorded webinar. Find upcoming webinars to register for at libcal.umflint.edu.